media you can find us.
Oh, that's super exciting. Well, congratulations on your early access launch and double congratulations on the merch. And thank you for joining us today.
Oh, I don't have an earring back. Fuck. Well, at least the show is playing. So I'm gonna go get that really quick.
How cute. Be sure to go check out the Spirit Swap demo now on Steam, and definitely don't forget to wishlist Button City's brand new game, Button City Soccer Days. Now, we've had brand new games and demos already announced, so why not spice it up by dropping yet another wholesome game for everyone to enjoy today?
Fucking hungry. I can't drink an energy drink on an empty stomach. I'm gonna die. Hey, John. Why is this so loud? Like, none of the directs have been this loud. Like, geez. Anyways. I started it and it was like, bwamp, 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 bwamp. Thank you. I'm like literally running late. I was like, I can sleep for an extra couple minutes, and then the extra couple minutes cost me. So, but it's an early call time today, and I have to go out tonight because Detox and Cobra and Onyx and everybody are performing in Boston. So going all day in drags.
The lead dev and founder of Frog Team Games. Now, one thing that I was very curious about is why frogs.
Can I please?
And what drew the inspiration for Frog Song?
One time when I was younger, I was camping with my family.
Oh my god, why won't this earring go
I
in?
saw all these toads by the lake, and I just started drawing these toads as these like fantasy villagers, and the idea kind of all started from there.
I love the idea of just like a younger Brandon creating this world while out camping. It feels very, very wholesome. Did you have anything you'd like to share with the Wholesome Games community in particular?
The Wholesome Games community has been a huge part of Frog Song's journey, so it's an honor to be launching alongside the Wholesome Direct.
And it is definitely an honor to have you. Thank you again, and a big congratulations on your launch. And that's it for the pre-show. Thank you so much
pre-show?
for hanging out with us.
Oh, bitch, so I'm not late?
Time
Oh,
for
get
Wholesome
into it.
Direct.
Oh, get into it. Oh, I was like, what feels weird when I'm wearing my pair of pants super high because the lining of this is weird.
Welcome back to Wholesome Direct, a celebration of wholesome games.
Oh my god, I watch her YouTube videos all the
I am joined
time.
by my wonderful co-hosts, Kennedy Rose and Gab Smulders.
Sit back and relax as we bring you exclusive
Stan Gab.
footage and announcements from nearly 80 wholesome games.
And remember,
80?
if you see
Oh.
any games you love today, head over to wholesomegames.com to get all the info and find out how you can support the developers.
I stand Gab. She's everything. Wow, I'm not late. Honestly, iconic of me. Wait, Maddie needs this game. Maddie loves Caterpie. Maddie was asking for a Caterpie adventure game. This is literally Maddie's game. Boots. Why is my volume so loud? My computer, like, suddenly everything is so much louder than normal. Any relation to Amy Rose? Just relating everybody to everybody. Hi, Sauce. Good morning. Very early morning for you, huh? Or late night.
This is Hako, the new intern at Bubblegum Galaxy. She'll now show us how to build planets.
Hi, Peachy.
Sorry, I meant to say restore the galaxy?
Oh, fuck.
Build a planet by placing tiles. Finish missions to earn points and additional tiles. Place your tiles wisely to complete quests and win stars. The more stars you get,
You
the
look
more
gorge.
planets
Oh, you've been
you'll
up
be
all
able to
night playing Street
restore.
Fighter. Hi, Peachy. No worries.
Each planet will have its own quirks and special rules.
I am always here.
As you gather stars and prove your skill as a planet architect, you will get to know more about
I
your
know, I'm never
coworkers.
this early. It's for you Europeans.
What is happening? This doesn't sound so good. Help Hako rebuild and save Bubblegum Galaxy. Check out the demo, available now on Steam.
Hi everyone! We're Spell Garden Games and we're making Sticky Business, a cozy small business simulator game where
My
you create
nail
your own
glue just,
stickers,
like,
pack
broke.
orders, and hear about your customer stories. You can play the demo right now on Steam. We'd love to see your creations
And it
hear
just,
about
like,
your
spilled
thoughts and
all over my
ideas
lap,
over
and
on
it's, like,
Twitter or
burning my
TikTok.
lap.
And now it's time to build the cutest sticker shop on the internet.
So, do I not have any more
running your own cozy small business?
glue? I guess I'll go get press-ons.
Create stickers, pack orders, and hear your customers' stories.
I hate a fucking press-on, but it's no tea, mama. I can't believe that
Time
just
to build
broke.
the cutest
Also, I
shop
can't believe
on
that
the
was just, like,
internet.
burning my lap. Like, what was that?
Moonstone Island is a creature collecting life sim set in an
It's like
open
something
world
itching
with
my
100
eye, too.
plus
I'm falling
islands to
apart.
explore. Make friends, brew potions, collect spirits, and test your strength in card-based encounters to complete your alchemy training. Station to Station is a minimalist railroad building simulator that artfully combines a relaxing experience with eye-pleasing voxel art visuals. Populate a beautiful, ever-brightening landscape and connect the world by building train tracks.
So how's everybody doing?
All aboard!
I haven't been, like, able to relax. I'm, like,
Hi,
stressed.
I'm Mala. I am an artist and we are making an adventure management game, The Palace on the Hill. We love playing cozy adventure games with a unique story and setting. And so
Literally.
we are making just that. The game is
I'm about to
inspired by our
play
own
Boat
lives and travels
Simulator.
in India, and it is coming out very soon. Enjoy the trailer and please add to your wish list.
Don't tell me what to do. I won't add to my wish list if I don't fucking want to. At least she said please. True. But you know what? Fuck her. Just kidding. JK, JK. We stand the indie game devs. I wonder if my... Oh! I didn't say anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'd like to take a moment to thank a few friends and partners who helped make today's show possible. That includes Devolver Digital, Sodesco, Studio Dry Dock,
Devolver is redacted
Hyperbeard,
after yesterday.
Raw Fury, and Fireshine
We do not
Games.
talk about them right
Again,
now.
a big thank you
They're
from
in
the
the
Wholesome
timeout
Games
corner.
team to you.
Usagi-shima is a cozy, relaxing bunny collecting game.
Thank you, Mbaz.
Decorate an abandoned island while you discover and make friends with a variety of cute, curious bunnies.
They had a terrible presentation. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can rewatch it, but it was like... It was terrible. Thank you, your boy. Everything is just falling apart for me today. I'm like, do I want to go to fucking Boston right now with how everything is not turning out my
Karmazoo
way?
is a joyful co-op platformer where up to 10 random players help each other using the unique abilities of 50 different characters.
Hey, Shogun. Oh my fucking god.
Karmazoo is a game about
please.
finding bliss in cooperation. Join a joyful team of up to 10 players online and combine your abilities to complete the loop. In Karmazoo, there are a billion ways to share the love. Choose one. Spit on your friends to make them sticky. Sacrifice yourself
Spit on
to
your
drop a helpful
friends.
tombstone.
Girl.
Strip down to your trunk to give a leg up.
Strip down to my trunk.
Spin a spider's web for others to climb.
Do you want me to spit on my
Smash block
friends
to
and
smithereens
strip?
to clear the way.
That is just a grinder hookup. Chill.
Sing your heart out to create the bridge. But you don't need a reason to carry your friends to victory as they bask in their natural glory. Karmazoo, a game for you.
Why are we talking like Dracula? Oh my god. Loved Billy Mindy. Oh, what a great trailer. Sorry, that was rude.
Hop into the world of Kamairu, a cozy farming and crafting game where you breed and collect frogs, customize and decorate your very own refuge,
What the?
and work to restore biodiversity in the wetlands.
But they want to fucking call drag queens the groomers, but goddamn, we're breeding frogs over here in this video game. You guys are freaks. Sorry, it's all just a joke. It's not serious.
We are just getting started, but I'd like to take a moment to mention our collaboration this year with the Able Gamers charity.
Able Gamers is a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving accessibility and enabling more people with disabilities to be able to play video games.
They assist individuals
How
in
are
getting
ya?
the peripherals
Trying to
they
glue
need,
these
work
fucking
with
nails on,
developers
for
to improve
Christ's sake.
accessibility, and more.
It won't stay on.
We've partnered with the Yeti to offer 2 limited-time Wholesome Direct t-shirts
I have a
to
Wholesome
celebrate
Direct
today's
t-shirt
event,
from 2021.
and 100% of the proceeds
Or
benefit Able
2022, I
Gamers.
can't remember.
If you'd like to learn more, you can visit ablegamers.org and get your limited time t-shirts at theyeti.com.
I think that year they were
Hi everybody, Steve Spawn here. Wholesome
we
games
were
are great.
they were
They
doing
have
something.
Great content. They're great fun. They're awesome to
I think
enjoy.
it was
But I don't think
the
it's really
USEF
about
fund,
the game's
UCLF.
content so much as it is the safe space that they provide, where everyone is welcome, everyone has a seat at the table, and everyone can have fun together.
These nails not glued. It is great. I love the inclusivity. We've already seen more games than the Devolver Digital.
Explore
like the
a
Devolver
bright
Digital
fantasy
one,
world
you
in
guys,
Paladins,
you
a
have to watch
whimsical
my video
co-op
on that,
adventure
like,
inspired by
so we can
classic
all
tabletop
bond on how
role-playing
terrible
games.
that was. Like, it's gonna be a running joke of the channel now. It's gonna be part of the Nemesis Network lore. Like, it is so terrible, the Devolver Digital show. So terrible. Like, actually the worst thing I've ever sat through in my life.
Play with up to 4
You can skip
friends
around
as
it,
you
too.
meet
We had to
charming
watch it live,
NPCs,
girl.
Collect oddball items and complete quests to unlock the secrets of the
I
land.
had to sit through that. Thou must pre.
The upcoming DLC for A Little to the Left cleans out the cabinets and
I
secret
can't with these
compartments
cleaning
with
games.
25
The only cleaning game I'll play is
delightfully
Animal
cupboards
Crossing.
and
These
drawers
cleaning
themed
games
puzzles to
piss me
discover.
off. Why is your room already a fucking mess? Why is everything
with even more charming
unorganized? I don't care if
illustrations
that's the
and
point of the
surprising
game. It
scenarios.
pisses me off. My OCD ass could never. That video of Khloe Kardashian with the girl
Coming
coming
June
up to her
27th.
house that's like, why don't you put the apples into the pears and one of the pears into the apples? And she's like, I'm excited for when you
Henry
leave.
Halfhead is a quirky sandbox adventure game about possessing and controlling everyday objects. Today, Henry is relaxing by doing some gardening. They enjoy planting new life and watching it grow from their care and love. Accompany Henry through their life story with all its ups and downs. Please wishlist Henry Halfhead now on Steam.
Saw this the other day. Looks really good.
Hi, I'm Preeti, and I'm making Gordlets, a cozy city-building sandbox where you place buildings and scenery, and then little visitors called Gordlets show up and live in your world. Depending on what you build, they might play
I can
chess,
finally watch the show.
read,
I finally got the
drink
nail set
tea,
on.
take a little nap, fish, roast marshmallows, and more. The only objective is to build and see what the Gordlets will do. And now, by popular request, the final release will have farming. Choose seeds to plant and the Gordlets will water them and pull weeds to grow a beautiful garden. Gordlets is coming soon.
Oh, I don't have my microphone. Where are you?
What if love was your most precious resource? Play Matchmaker in Lakeburg Legacies, a cozy management
Where is
sim.
it? Oh, this ain't
Create
right.
the best
Who took
couples,
the mic?
handle the drama, and ensure that your kingdom thrives.
Shut the fuck up.
Lakeburg Legacies launches on PC
Where's
on
the
July
mic?
20th.
Hi cozy gamers, I'm Martina.
And I'm Mick.
And we're the founders of Loftier, a cozy MMO game about working together to build a better living world.
We're currently working towards our Kickstarter campaign, which will launch soon. And you're about to watch our very first teaser trailer.
Welcome to Loftier, a game about working together to make a positive impact on the world. You can learn skills such as hydroponic farming and sustainable crafting, go on adventures with your crew, and join the community on projects to improve the city. Whether you love socializing with friends, both old and new, or prefer playing solo, there's a home for everyone in Loftier.
Oh my god, stop. I'm literally gonna be so upset and I'm like gonna be really like not in it if I don't have this microphone. Why did I put it somewhere not with my shit? Where's the blue fur coat? If I find that, I'll find it.
Oh. I didn't see you there. My name's Noah, but you might know me as Some Humble Onion. And for the past 2 years, I've been developing a little game about a little mushroom. Today, I have some very exciting news to share with you about it. So be sure to watch until the end.
This like literally isn't even funny. Like my hormone like the estrogen is gonna make me cry if I seriously lost this. Like this isn't funny. I want to play this game so bad. I met the developer at PAX. Love him. What the fuck? I found it. It was in my fucking hairbrush bucket. Thank you, Sapphire. My nail just popped off just like sitting here.
Join the iconic Little Nemo as you explore the wondrous world of dreams, Slumberland.
Girl, I just used you. Open the fuck up.
Toys, PJs, and little buddies, all granting you extraordinary abilities. Discover enchanting new dream
I'm really
domains and encounter
about to have a
colorful
breakdown.
cast of
Like I'm
characters,
fully
all governed by the
serious.
mysterious blue
Nothing
veil,
is going right for me
which
this
only
morning.
you can overcome.
Not even this
Along the way,
charming, gorgeous
you'll face
direct is
challenges,
cheering me up.
But don't worry, you'll simply wake up safe and sound in your bedroom.
Why is everything so loud?
Continue on your adventure.
Everything's pissing me off. Everything's pissing me off. Everything's pissing me off. Thank you, Cody, for the 7 months. I'm having a breakdown, but I appreciate you subscribing.
Steam for a limited time.
Next, we've got updates for 2 games from our friends at Sudesco. Stay tuned for the latest from Garden Witch Life and Orange Season.
Hello, Ted. Deep breath. Another nail just popped off. Deep breath. You know what? Fuck this nail glue. Worst nail glue I've used in my life. Just breathe.
Hi, Wholesome Direct.
We want to welcome you to Garden Buddies.
Garden Buddies is a story-based life sim in which you help Matsi, a small
Hello,
athlete,
gentlemen.
to make new friends, build a gorgeous garden.
There needs to be a supercut of me just thirsting over the hot
We love the new
developers.
friends that we created, and we can't wait to share them with you.
Now enjoy the first trailer of Garden Buddies coming this summer to Switch and Steam.
I'll be your buddy. And I'll trim your garden if you need. I'm so sorry. I thought that said musty. I was like, not you naming an animal musty.
In a tiny sticker tale, help a young donkey named Flynn in their journey to reunite
I'm
with her
fine.
father. Use
Everything's
a magic
fine.
sticker book to take anything from the world around you and turn it into a sticker. Use your
Maddie, you
creativity
missed it. There
to
was
take
a
them back to
Caterpie
different
video
places,
game.
solving puzzles and helping your new
There's like
friends.
literally a Caterpie, like not exactly, but there's like a caterpillar game. Oh yes! If there's a pre-show for the next show, I'll rewind and watch it for you.
Everdeep Aurora is a small 2D adventure and exploration game that tells the story of an adventurous little cat named Shell searching for her missing mother.
I seem to be sure the next show is at 1 o'clock? I don't want to miss it. Let me turn my volume down just in case I open my... Okay, we're safe. Summer Games Fest.
This unexpected quest will unravel many
I
secrets.
just had a
about
heart
the world
attack. I thought I
around
did the wrong day. Like my soul just dropped out of my ass. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Hi, Oscar. Okay, so it is at
From
1
the creator of
p.m.
Omno, Kibu is a tranquil adventure in the heart of the wilderness.
Perfect. So we jump from this one and then we go to Future Games, which is the main show. So this is like kind of like a little
Build out a temple,
little scoochy.
tend to your garden, brew delicious tea, and adventure out into the
Brew
wilds
delicious
to harvest
tea.
the riches of nature.
Girl, I got plenty of that. Thank you so much. My like eye's like really itchy. Like I don't know what it is. I think it's a piece of glitter like rubbing on my skin.
Carve out your own special
But
corner
it's no
of
tea,
home
it's
in a
whatever.
beautiful, mysterious land.
But also I woke up this morning with like a bunch of eye crusties, so that could also be it. And also a blood vessel popped in my eye. Today I'm falling apart. Like today is just not my day. I don't know what in the moons and the cosmos are happening, but it is just not my day. So my eyes like a little, you know why. Like literally I was doing my makeup, I did my waterline, and then I like went down to put my pencil down, and then I did my eyeshadow, and then I looked back at the like the mirror. I don't know.
Let's start
And
slowly roasting the
I was
mushrooms in
like,
the oven
oh,
and
that's really
preparing
interesting.
the
There's a blood vessel that popped in my
for this
eye.
order, you were asked to avoid anything spicy. Flora, you only have a spicy horn pepper.
No, literally, I am not God's favorite
It's not in the
today.
recipe,
I usually
but you can
am
use
because I go to
additional ingredients
church
to outweigh
and
the
I love
flavors of
God.
Let it stir with
A child of God.
and come back in a
God
second to
loves
collect
me.
it. Now, it's time to deliver your magical delicacies.
I deliver a magical delicacy after I have McDonald's every time.
Get ready to meet,
So sorry.
befriend, and care for adorable puppies while exploring paradise in our next game.
Welcome to paradise. Or should we say, puppy paradise? We have a ton of pups for you to befriend. Make sure to bathe, feed, and play with them. Unlock hundreds of clothes and accessories to dress up your pups and create your own unique style. Get your friends kitted out and hunt for treasure on sandy beaches. Or hike and explore snowy mountains. Go on your very own adventure and explore an island full of puppies. Be sure to check every nook and cranny. Who knows what secrets?
Nintendogs! Wait, this is actually really
Make
cute.
this
It's like
island your
Nintendogs
own.
for
Build
PC.
and customize it for you and the furry locals.
How fun! You
There's
get to
so
walk
much
your
here for you
dog.
to discover, and so many friends to make.
You get to
in
make
this
little
relaxing
houses and do little-
exciting puppy adventure.
How adorable!
We can't wait
This
to
is literally
welcome you to the
Nintendogs. Available 27th of June. Oh my god, that's so soon.
The Guardian of Nature
Nintendogs.
is a puzzle adventure game with lovely handcrafted art and animations. It's about a
Nintendogs
giant
dupe,
tree
but like
that
better.
connects the whole forest
And
its
not
vegetation.
Nintendo.
You are brought into this magical world and play Henry, a botanist and the last guardian of nature. One day, Henry finds out that
Karu.
the mother tree is in danger.
Hi, BCB. I don't
and
know if I said
he
hi.
needs to
Thank you
go
so
on an
much.
urgent journey to put nature back in order. Explore the world of the game above and
I'm kind of
below
having a
ground.
breakdown for everybody coming in,
Solve
so like I'm
solar
trying to
peak
like come
puzzles
down from that.
and see how everything is connected.
So
Accompany Henry on his
a lot
journey.
is happening this morning,
Use your
and
ability to change in size.
like let me give you the
find out
grocery
about the
list.
large
This morning I was late for the direct. Then after that, nail glue
Wish
fell on
list
top
the
of my lap
guardian
and
of
started
nature.
burning my leg.
Now on
Then I
Steam.
didn't have any nail glue. All my nails started popping off. Then I couldn't find the microphone for like 10 minutes and almost started crying because of my estrogen levels. Then I don't have any food, so I'm kind of hangry, like very hangry. So I'm a little grumpy and moody, and I'm about to have an energy drink, so I'm probably gonna be a monster. Then after that, my eye is really itchy because when I was doing my makeup this morning, something popped in my eye. I don't know why. So that's where I'm at mentally. So yeah. Not very mentally sound. And also like every day here it's like raining, so I'm like over it. I'm like, girl. And I know there's like, you know, the world is ending because the fire is in Canada and New York, but no, it's really not my day. I don't know what the tea is. Thank you.
Welcome to Manita's Kitchen, where you'll meet Trixito, a T-Rex with short
Trixie
arms that
Mattel?
has one dream, to become the best pizza maker.
Well.
Join Trexie and their 4 dino friends in this culinary adventure, but be warned. The competition's conspiracy could ruin everything.
I can't. Stop. Me versus unpacking is an undying saga.
Unpacking is a Zen game. About
We
the
have
familiar
beef.
experience
We
of
li-
pulling
me and this game
possessions
have
out of
beef.
boxes and fitting them into a new home.
I can't. I literally have personal business with this game. I can't do
Coming to
it.
phone and tablet later this year.
No, not. It's taking over the world, not phone and tablet.
For those just joining, we'd like to take a moment to remind you about our collaboration with the Able Gamers charity.
Able Gamers creates opportunities
Why do
for
they
people
all
with
have gorgeous
disabilities
rooms?
to
I'm very
enjoy video
jealous.
games by providing specialized equipment, advice, and education.
Hi, Slay.
They assist individuals in getting the peripherals they need, work with developers to improve accessibility, and more.
And this year, we are partnering with the Yeti to offer 2 limited-time Wholesome Direct t-shirts that celebrate today's event, and 100% of the proceeds benefit
I want
Able
that one
Gamers.
so bad.
If
That
you'd
is
like
so
to learn
cute.
more, you can visit ablegamers.org and get your limited time t-shirts at theyeti.com/wholesomegames.
I usually buy these every year. I think last year was the one I bought. I have it in my other room. I usually wear it for when I'm putting on makeup, which is not the best, but like it's so comfy. It's like my comfy walking around the house shirt. I just don't understand those type of games like unpacking and all the cleaning. Like the only one I could like is like maybe Animal Crossing, but like why would you pay to play a game that you're cleaning? Where is like the imagining? Where's the fun? Like I can clean my room in the other room. Like it's just not my tea. I love Whitethorn games. They sent me a plushie once. I have it in my other room.
Solarpunk is a cozy survival crafting game in a
I'm
technically
moving to a new
advanced world
apartment.
of floating islands.
Maddie, did you see that Carly and Freddie are like now canonically together in the iCarly series? I said, what was that?
Live in harmony with nature and use sunlight, wind,
I literally
and water
gasped.
to create an
I was
energy
like, oh.
system and automate your processes like gathering resources and watering your plants.
Not the scraps after Sam and Freddy. Sam and Freddy is superior. I don't know. Sorry. I know Sam doesn't want to be part of the franchise, but like they're this superior. Also, Jeanette McCurdy, I just stand like
Forge
stand.
a
So
blacksmith's village on an isle of the land's finest artisans.
no, yeah. In the new show, they made them together like officially, I guess. If they have a wedding, that is so corny. I don't need to see an iCarly wedding. Let's be serious
Step
here.
into the boots of an expert smith for a crafty adventure filled with mystery and charm.
No, it's in the new one. Go check my Twitter. It's like one of my recent tweets.
Prove that a hammer, anvil, and your wits can overcome any challenge.
Not Neville showing up. Sorry.
Coming up next, we've got a fresh look at the Life Sim Wildflowers and some of the recent updates it's received, including additions to the romance, farming, and character customization systems.
So, am I the only person on this earth that is...
I'm Tara, Hazel Wild's granddaughter.
Oh.
Nice to meet you.
This like
Join Tara
TikTok
on a heartfelt journey to become a
advertisement
witch in Wildflowers.
video game. This is like those ads that's like, Girl, do you fart? Well, we're gonna fart even harder in this video game. Choose to marry this guy or shit your pants and die.
With your coven.
Do you know those like games that are like the ads that have the two options? It's like marry him or you're gonna die in 7 days and shit your pants and die. That's what this game looks like.
Love the fully
100%.
acted characters of Fairhaven as you unravel a local mystery.
I love you, Tara Wild.
Oh, lesbians!
Come to the lighthouse, Moira. Come as fast as you can.
These hills are a prison, and I'm breaking out.
Moira McKinnon
Oh, we have
is
Alba
running
Fire
away from
on
home
the
across
voice
the
acting
Scottish
here.
Highlands to reach the sea.
Alba Fire,
Scramble over
Manderas.
peaks, decipher maps, explore caves, and rush through valleys in time to music.
Okay, but Wildflowers is a
Collect
really
the
cozy.
stories of
Yeah,
the
I know.
hills
I
and
like.
of Moira's
I like
past.
the imagination. Not. Yeah, I know that sounded so cunty. I meant like. Yeah, it does look like
Sushi
that.
Ben is a VR adventure game about saving a
It
struggling
looks cute.
sushi
Oh, is this
bar by
VR? Come
bringing
on,
in
it looks
new
really cute. I would
customers.
play this if it wasn't VR.
The game also uses unique 3D manga panels to add film language to VR.
Oh, this looks fun. I don't want to play in VR. But hi, Angry. How you doing?
You'll have to help customers with their problems before they agree to accompany you for
No,
dinner.
I'm taking this into my own hands. I'm playing this with no VR. We're making it so you
Here's the
don't have to
latest
use
from
VR.
Snufkin, Melody of Moomin Valley.
In the northern part of the world, a global phenomenon was born. Tove Jansson, a cherished artist and author, created the intriguing world of Moomin Valley.
Oh my god,
transcending cultural
Moomin?
boundaries
Stop,
to
I'll
capture
gag right
the hearts
now.
of millions. Moomin's enduring appeal
We stand
can be
Moomin.
traced to the story's themes of friendship, melancholy, and adventure, which have resonated with audiences across generations. Among the inhabitants of Moomin Valley, we find a free-thinking spirit and philosopher.
Wait, give
with
us a
his
Moomin game
signature
right
green
now. I
hat
will literally
and
move.
harmonica.
I will jump.
Snufkin, a true wanderer,
Oh.
he has embraced a nomadic lifestyle, cherishing his independence and sense of adventure above all. When harmony is disturbed in Moomin Valley, he returns to restore the natural order of untamed beauty and
Moomin.
rescue his best friend, Moomin Troll. Join Snufkin's adventures in Snufkin.
I would like
Melody
it
of Moomin
more
Valley.
if I could play as Moomin, not this like ugly ass leprechaun, but like it's no tea. We stand Moomin.
The Star Named Eos is a first-person narrative puzzle adventure game that explores the power of photography and memories. Immerse yourself in a hand-drawn world.
What about a game about
solve
pornography?
puzzles, and recreate photos to relive long-forgotten moments.
Not photography. What about the other one? Don't now net me. You know exactly you would play that game.
Porcupine is
Boots.
a unique story adventure.
You'll see a guy with his shirt off and full pecs, and you'd be like, "Oh, I'm purchasing that." Exactly. I'm with it. I'm with
Experience the
it.
exciting
A prom
story of Finley
tycoon.
and
I'm
his
with
friends
it.
In a lovingly illustrated
That's
world.
just Unipop Studio Boots, but like with a I would like a sexy men's version. This looks cute though. Why did you break that? Is there a word for like birdie, like furry, like birdie? Are you literally just called a birdie?
Hi everyone, I'm Kira.
Do
the
people want to
community
be
manager
birds?
For Story of Seasons in the West. Here's a little snippet.
She is gorge, Kiara Rodway.
Coming out this June 27th.
Natural beauty. She has eyeliner on, and that's it. Maybe a little peak of blush. Like wow.
You have now, and so I've made the decision
Can't
to make it
relate.
myself. You can even choose what pronouns you'd like characters to use for you throughout the game. Of course, life on the farm is nice and relaxed, and we've made some changes to make it even more relaxing, with better movement, upgradable tools, and some
Oh.
helpful new facilities.
Okay,
We've
kind of
also
with
added new
this.
hybrid crops,
This
so you
gives
can
me like
experiment and make some unusual
a mix of
Naturally, this game is all about family and there's
Slime
so much
Rancher
I don't
and
want to spoil too much, so let me just tell you that I've
Tomodachi Life and what's that one that everybody likes? Harvestville? No, not Harvestville.
quick snuggle montage.
Harvest. What is it called? Harvest Moon? Harvest Moon. Gives me a mix of all of those into one. That looks really cute. I would buy that. What's the price point? Book Stostenberg. Okay, we don't need the theatrics of the name. Let's relax. Good morning, house music.
Hey.
House music, you're not gonna believe this. Unpacking is coming for phone and tablet devices. Ah-hoo! That avatar sends me. I don't know why. Oh, poses. Yeehaw! I don't know why the avatars in this are really funny to me. They're kind of funny. The smiles on them. Can one of them have a kitty face, please? I'll buy it if one of the faces is a kitty face. Oh, lounges in the water. Wood and weather. That's what I say when I give Roadhead in a rainstorm.
Where you build, manage, and design a relaxing cat cafe and snack bar in the forest.
This wholesome presentation, I'm just making sex jokes the entire time. How lovely. Guys, my outfit for tonight I made my outfit for tonight last night.
Is an idle game where you open a restaurant in a
I made a tube dress. I made a tube cheetah print dress. I sewed it and then I cut like ribbing into it, so it's like super slutty. It looks so good.
Decorate and level up your restaurant and open new areas and activities for your customers to enjoy.
It's not Twitch TOS, so I can't wear it, you know. But I'm excited to wear it to the club. I'm hoping Zane will let me borrow his shoes, because I bought shoes and they don't fit, which is very unfortunate. But I got them for $10, so it's whatever. They said they were a size 10, but clearly the shoes I bought were not a size 10, because I'm a size 10. But when I put them on, they were like a size 8.5. I'm like, why did I get lied to? Also, this game running at like 2 FPS, like
endless deserts, floating mountains, and talking beasts, outsmarting thieves, and
not the Xbox sponsor, and this game is literally running at 2 FPS. Like, let's be serious. Xbox, you can get into it. That noise scared me. It sounded like it was coming from behind me. The audio mixing scared me. I jumped.
In Tracks of Thought, you're a little ladybug who's still figuring things out. And you're figuring out why no one in this train can remember where they're going. Team up with one of 7 bugs suited to your own personality. Help out the passengers, settle your differences in card battles.
That's like literally how I feel about today, Oscar.
Together.
I'm like, do I want to go?
Oh, looks like the train's arriving
Or do I want to
soon.
stay home and do nothing? Sorry, the like lo-fi music sometimes gets me really tired. Take notice, we have not seen a single medieval game yet. Just putting that out there. Or space. Just been a very like colorful, like cutesy game fest.
It's almost time to say goodbye.
Before we go, we'd like to share even more wholesome games coming your way this year and beyond.
They've also announced 80
These are gonna
games.
go by fast, so don't forget to visit wholesomegames.com.
Devolver Digital,
show for all the info
they
and
showed
links to the games.
4. Thank you, Scorpia. Not unpaid labor. This music? Not Flappy Bird the game. Oh. Breath of the Wild stamina wheel. Dude! Oh, this looks adorable. Petite Island. When I customize my kitty. Oh. We saw this at another Direct. What did that turtle do? What'd I do? Island. I don't know why that name sends me. Oh, dances. I don't know, something about third-person games are more charming to me than anything. I don't know. First-person games have to be really good for me to play them. For some reason, I would play this. I don't know. Something about it. Toaster ball? Oh, y'all think you're funny. Brave Little Toaster grown up. Brave Little Toaster getting wild. Also, like, okay, not to change the topic so suddenly, but the way in the episode of Drag Race All-Stars, they gave Alexis Michelle a country song when they were doing a homage to Joan Crawford, when the era she was doing of Joan Crawford was completely out of place from doing country in the slightest. Like, nowhere near that era of Joan was near country. Sorry, just random thought in my head. I just thought it was so bizarre. I was like, she did well, but you made her do that so she couldn't win. Because producers were producing.
That brings us to the end of our program. Remember to visit wholesomegames.com for links to every game featured in today's show.
We'll see you again next year for Wholesome Direct 2024.
But before we go, here is one last game we hope you'll love.
Thank you for the presentation. It was a great presentation. Right? And her runway was like one of the better ones. Oh, the other presentation is happening. Love you guys. So sorry.